Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, and fortunately it's already connected, so I can do this, is PDF Expert. It costs $10, but it's the best $10 I've ever spent on this device because I use it regularly. Just as a simple example of where this is useful is if, well, this, I was playing with this before just to test a few things, so I'm going to delete that. There we go.
So it's called PDF Expert.
It's PDF Expert.
PDF.
It's $9.99 as an app, and it gives you most of the features of Adobe Acrobat. Not everything, but for practical purposes, nearly everything. One simple application of this that I use all the time is people will often send you a document that you need to sign and send back.
Right.
And what I used to have to do there is either have an image save where I scanned in a signature, which I do have saved in my Dropbox, or and then I would have to download the document, open Adobe Acrobat, load the image in, paste it in, save it as a PDF again, and then save it on my computer and send it back. And it took a little bit of time, and it didn't work so well if I was traveling or doing something else because I wouldn't always have it here. But now with this, if I get a PDF sent to me in email and I press and hold on it, one of the options is open in PDF Expert. So if I choose that, it will load directly into here. And this is just an example of a syllabus. I don't really need that. I was just testing. Let me get rid of that. Okay. So here's an example of a PDF of a document, my syllabus for my econometrics class, or I'm sorry, for my labor class. And I just want to show you some of the things you can do. A simple thing is if you click annotate, you get a whole set of tools over on the right there. I'm leaving it in landscape mode. Usually I'd have this in portrait mode, but it would look a little more compressed on the screen. So we'll leave it there. You got some simple things like there where you can choose a marker and you can choose a color. Let's say I'm going to go with dark blue, and you choose a level of transparency to let things bleed through if you want. I'll let this be 50% transparent, and now I can draw on the screen. And if that's too thick, I can make it a little bit thinner, and now I've got something a little bit smaller. If I had my Apple Pencil, which actually I think I do, in my bag here. Oh, it's not configured though. Well, it's not connected right now, but that'll only take a second. If I plug my Apple Pencil in, I can use that as a stylus once it connects to Bluetooth, and you do that by just plugging it in. There we go. Okay, so now I should be able to draw on the screen using my Apple Pencil, which will give me much finer control and so forth, although those are kind of ugly. So if you do something that's kind of ugly, you can just go in, choose eraser. You can choose the size of it. I'll leave it pretty big to erase that. There's also an undo button in here too, but which is right down here. So you can undo all those things. So I undid the erasing. Oops, yeah. I don't want to undo that. I wanted to get rid of it. So these are some things I was just playing with just to make sure everything still worked because I hadn't used it for a while. Yeah. That was Jim Lang when he was here. And I'm going to get out of there, select that, and I'm going to delete it. So that was something I just added. But the features on this are just remarkable. If you want to do a signature, let's say you get a form where you need to sign it, you select that. I already have a few signatures in there that I created, but you can create a new one. And you can do it by just using your finger, or you can use, say, a stylus. And so I'm going to sign it here, and it's not a very good signature, but it's there, and it's been added to my signature list. And now I go to wherever the signature is supposed to be. Let me exit out of there for a second. And now there's my signature, and I can move it to wherever it needs to be. I can make it bigger, I could shrink it, and so forth. And just once I get it right on the line where I want it, I can just tap and it's now there. Although there it's kind of compressed. You want to do it, there should be a way of sending it to the background. I forget how. Well, normally you have some space for it. There is a way of getting it so it's just a signature on a transparent background. I forget how to do that now, but I do have that saved, so I usually just paste it in. There's other things you can do with it. I showed the drawing, but there's also a highlight tool which is available here. And then you can highlight text by, if it's a standard PDF where you have text, you can just go in and highlight it if you want to take notes on something.
You can edit that text as well?
You can also, if you press the text edit option, which is right here. So now I can go in and I can select the text. Oh, it works better when it's not on here, but you can just go in and this worked fine before. So one more time, there we go. So now I've got the text I want to edit. The cursor will go in there and I can delete something, type something new, and so forth, right from the keyboard, or if you have a Bluetooth keyboard connected right there. So, and this is just a copy of the original. I'm not actually changing the original file. And you notice it takes all the text boxes that were originally defined, and you can just select it and go in and edit it. So if you notice, if you had a PDF and you're traveling and you just want to make a quick change before you send it, if you're on a plane or an airport, you could just go in and make a change. And then when you're done, you just click done, and then you choose, you can email it, you could save it to Drive or Dropbox or other things. And you've just made all sorts of changes. If you want, you can go in and select link. So you can just grab some text, and then you could add an HTML link, and we could put in a URL there, and it embeds a link in your PDF document. So
and a desktop, you can do this as well?
No. Well, there is a version of this for a Mac desktop. I think that's like 30 bucks.
But you have
maybe
to
less.
But
you have to get the version of it then. And then the files would share between a Mac and this. But you know, if you on the campus, you get Adobe Acrobat, and that's free.
That's
you know,
free.
well, it's because it's a site license for faculty and staff. But you know, so let's just say we want to go send this to the As We Go page. You can embed a web right from within the document. So there we go. And now it's there. So that's now, well, there's all sorts of other things there, but because it was highlighted as well. But you could, that's kind of odd. I'm not sure. There we go. Oh, and it just went to that page. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. One more time, back to PDF Expert. So it's showing you that it's a link, and in text it's showing that. But if you click on it, it will actually take you there. So that's that. If you want to get an image, you can insert an image. Let me get out of here, and then it should come back to the main menu at the top. There we go. And now, if you want to edit the document, you get the editing tools. You have the image, and then, oh, that's to edit the image. So that would let you scan it. There is an insert. Oh, I know what it is. It's right here where you go to your photo library. You could grab it, and that's where I grabbed that image. That was an image of Jim Lang. So you get to choose a resolution. We'll throw in a high-res one, and there he is. A nice crisp photo of him, and you can scale it down. You can shrink it and so forth. You can snap it to various objects. Right there, it's snapped to the bottom of the text. Or you could disable snapping, and then you could move it anywhere freely. And there it is. Other really impressive features with this is if you just press and hold. No, let me go back to annotate. Oops, I pressed actually the wrong form. Let's go back to that one.
Taxes.
One more time. Where is the Echo 350 syllabus? There we go. Okay, so now if I press and hold anywhere on the screen, I get some other options. So this is something that I've used sometimes when I get student papers. You can download your student papers, put them in Dropbox or Drive, load them into here, and then you could just embed a text note, a little sticky note, and just type something in, and then it's right there. And then you can send it back to the student, and they'll see these little sticky notes, and if they type it, they'll get that really useful message. If you don't like it there, you can always press the garbage can and remove it. But you can also do this. If you click while you're in there, once you click the microphone, anything else that you say will automatically go in the text note.
Oh, that's great.
Well, it misled note and next, but we can turn that off, and it's still trying to do it. But you can then go in and edit it if you want. So you can just go in and get the keyboard back right there, and now you can go in and delete the things that you didn't want. So there you go. So yeah, if you're careful and you're very, and you wait until you finish that note before you go on to the next thing, it does a pretty good job of capturing text and transcribing. Some people I know who've had some issues with their back or with typing, or if they had a wrist injury, have used this type of thing to be able to give students feedback because it doesn't really require them to type, and that's a really nice feature. Or a better way of doing the same thing is to go over here, and you notice there's sound. And what you do there is you just embed an audio clip where when you're ready to do it, actually it's already doing it, sorry. It automatically starts recording, and once you're finished, you just press the stop button, and now it's embedded in audio note, which if you send it back to the student, when they get it, the PDF will have it, they click it, and it'll play back your message. And that's a really nice, easy way of giving students feedback. And it's a little more personal than a text note.
It is.
And you can embed that wherever you want. You also
do you do that with your classes?
I haven't generally, but I generally do it in Blackboard, and I embed the notes right in the thing. But I have done it occasionally with feedback in this, but not. Now that Blackboard has a pretty good tool with their Crocodoc thing or whatever it's called, I've usually just embed it right in there. But it's because it's more direct doing that. I just directly place it in their Word or the PDF document. But if you're not using the editing features in Blackboard, and if you're just collecting them where students email it to you, or put it if you're using, for example, Google Classroom, and you're just getting them all as Google Drive files, you can just open them in Google Drive, save them, and then when you're done, as we'll see. Well, let's say we're finished with this. So if you finish with this, you can go right back up to the top here to your documents, and then it will show up in your list of documents. And that was Echo 350, which is somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. Where did it go? Oh, well, I can get to it from here. But you have the option of saving it and sharing it. And so let's say, so right there, you have the option of printing it if you wanted, if you have a wireless printer connected, or you could share it with someone else, or you could email it to someone, or you could save a copy, and then it goes to that list. Because it hasn't been saved, it's not there. But the really interesting thing is, let's say I wanted to email it, you get 3 options. You get the option of saving it with editable annotation, so it's in a format where you can go back in and change any of that. But if you're sending it back to students, or if you're sending something back to someone with comments, the most common thing would be a flattened copy. Now, the annotation summary only saves the things you've annotated. One place where I've used that is when I'm doing a review of a journal article. I get the article in the mail, and then I'll go through and I'll make notes right in here where I'll insert some sticky notes and other things. The annotation summary will separate all those notes out and save a file with just my comments. And it will tell me where they were in the document. And it's a really useful tool to go back in and to write the report, because it shows me everything I had commented on, all the highlighting I did, and all the things that caught my attention at the time, and then I can just write it while that's open, and it's a nice convenient way without having to go back and skim through everything and look at them one by one. Now, sometimes you do that, but at least it lets you outline your review by looking at a summary of any annotations you made. So I'm going to save a flattened copy, and then it's going to ask me where I want to mail it.
You're saving, a lot of digital files, and you don't want to save notes and all of those things. I mean, you can really go digital.
It makes it so, and that's why I said when I get a contract, it comes in, I add my signature to it, usually a safe signature, or I'll just do it right there because I have them already there, and then I'll email it right back to the person who sent it without ever opening it on any device or printing it or doing anything. Yeah. When we had more people doing COIL contracts, the procedure that we set up, the efficient procedure we set up, required a signature from the department chair, it required a signature from someone in extended learning, it required Josh's signature in travel, it required my signature, and maybe 1 or 2 other people, and there were a whole list of things for people to sign. So what I tried to do when we had a larger group of people doing this, because people would print it, they'd get someone to sign it, they'd scan it back in, and got really ugly after 4 or 5 attempts, because people didn't always line it up nicely when they scanned it. So what I tried to do is we get a cohort of people where everyone who needed to sign it was in the room, and I just passed around the iPad, because when we did the signature, if you notice, for signature, there's also the option, my signature is stored, but if you choose customer signature, I'll just scribble something in there, and you notice that gave me thicker and thinner lines depending on the angle.
And you can't save it, right?
So it won't save it, but it will put it in, and then you could, so what I do is I'd have each person who needed to sign it, and just put that right in where their signature was, and we get all the signatures, we send a flattened copy off to Extended Learning, and it was all done.
Very good.
And it was so much easier than trying to have each person download it, sign it, scan it, and send it back. So I love this app. It's one of my favorite apps, and you know, I use it for reading. There is a tool in here. I forget, I haven't done it for a while, but it will read back text to you and in a computer voice. It will.
Well, that's really nice. It's got to be wonderful for adaptive folks, you know, that don't have.
It can be
ability.
really helpful. Yeah. And here's another neat feature. There's also this stamp. And if there's comments that you're always putting on documents, if there's a workflow where you either have to say approved, disapproved, or if there's common feedback, you can create a new text stamp where you type, you choose the style. You know, it could be plain white with black border, it could be green, or however you want to do it. Let's say we'll go with that. There's not a lot of variety. You could also require that the time and the date be in there. So there we go. And then you could type in the text. So, and it will automatically put the time and date stamp. So now we have a new stamp. And so now all you would do is you choose that and you would put the stamp out once you selected it. Come on. It's not responding. So let me choose a stamp again, and we'll, one more time. Maybe if we
have to click on it?
Yeah, it should come up right here. Here we go. There's a stamp, and then you click, there's that new stamp, and there it is. So if you had an approved stamp or something, or if there's a workflow where you have to put some sort of a statement on here, or if you want to give students feedback where there was a common issue where they didn't have a good thesis statement or something, you could create a text stamp and just put it in on 2 clicks like that, where you select the stamp and then you place it wherever you want. There's also on the same option, when we do this, for stamps, there's also the option of creating an image stamp where you could grab any image. So you could have something where, you know, you could have a pile of crap or something, or emojis or other things, and you would just embed, you could create your own image and embed that as a stamp. So let's say we wanted to use a picture of Jane Link as our image. We'll do a low resolution one. And now, whenever we go in and do that, if we choose the stamp option, it's now going to be the picture of Jane. We had Damien there from a previous workshop. So you can just put that in as your stamp. You know, you could have smiling faces, you could have anything you want in there.
Right, that's good, that's good.
So
very, very cool. So I'm gonna get those, PDF Expert.
And for $10, it gives you a lot of power.
Yeah, it sure does.
I've been using it for about 5 years now.
And you never have to say to somebody, can you just send me the digital version of that I can manipulate? Because that's...
And it will read Word documents, it will read PDFs and save them as PDFs. So
spreadsheets as well, not just...
Good question. I'm not sure. Let me see. I've got Excel on here, but I don't have a lot of Excel documents on my Dropbox, on my Google Drive. Let me see if I got one here. Let me see. I probably have some here just from where I've done. I don't use it that much on here. I should. I use Google Sheets more, but let me see. There are no recent spreadsheets, so
it's okay.
Let's just try. Let's create a blank worksheet, and we'll just throw some numbers in. Come on, type. Oh, there we go. Why am I not getting a keyboard? Oh, because it's not signed in. Yeah, I have to log in.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
But it should work.
Well,
let me just see. I hate to open my email and know what's going to be in there. But so let me just see if there's any Excel documents. I haven't gotten any Excel documents in a while. As an email attachment.
Right.
Usually you get the option of opening a Google Drive, or if you select that, or opening in while you're in your email.
Right.
I can't think of any Excel documents I've received in the last month, and that takes me back like 8,000 or 9,000 emails. So, let's just do a quick web search. PDF expert. Oops, that's not what the web. That's the photos. The web. Where's my Safari there? I thought I hit that, but I guess I didn't. So I am going to go to PDF expert and then open spreadsheet just to see. I suspect it will, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. Oh.
Here we go. Well, Readall is the company that makes it.
Right.
So
Yep, it does say it right there. Up in the.
yeah, that's their Readall document.
Gives you better content.
Yeah, but that's not PDF
not?
expert.
Oh, okay.
Let's just go back first because they do have another file called Readall documents, but oh well, maybe here because it is currently version 6.
I can try it.
It would be under probably create. Well, do I have any? Let me see. I know in Dropbox I have some old ones. Let me just try that. And if I go to the book directory, if I go to book files, and then books, where are books? It's a big directory. Book, and then there should be a subdirectory with CD, and then in there should be data, and in the data files there should be some Excel files, maybe, or no, they're probably all in zip files. No. No, there's not. And those are just PDFs. I don't work with Excel files all that much, or at least not on here.
Yeah, I can check it out.
But I suspect it would. I know it opens Word documents.
Right.
So I'd be surprised if it didn't open Excel. Now, if you had the Excel app, you could always save it as a PDF, and then because that's one of the options in all the Office things.
Right.
So that's certainly a workflow. I really think it does, but I hate to say it does and be wrong.
Yeah.
So where is the open? How to create a new? And you can also merge PDFs. Notice you can do that from that menu where you have all your saved ones. That's a blank one, so you can create one from scratch, but that's not really issue. Let's see if there should be some help in the app.
Let me check it.
Here we go. And here, is there help? I'm not seeing help. See, the nice thing is I never use the help in it because it was kind of, the interface I found kind of intuitive. This is just a search within the document. No. Maybe we go back to the document menu. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking here to see if I have any. No, I don't. I've never tried it. So it may or may not, but it could always be done by saving it in Excel, even the iPad Excel, as a PDF and then opening. But I'd be really surprised if it didn't.
I'm not sure looking it up. All right.
So Kate, do you have any questions?
Okay, yeah, I muted you because my dog was barking at my phone. It got loud. But no, I don't have any questions. I don't think. So I guess I do. If I had like a document, like a hard copy, page document that I wanted to reduce to PDF, I could scan it and make it have it be
If you scan it, it creates an image. It won't generally create a text document. So if you have a PDF that was created by just scanning the image, like on a scanner, it won't generally be editable in the same way. You could annotate it, you could draw it, you could do other things, but you won't be able to edit the text. For the text to be editable, there has to be a layer in it that contains the actual text. So if you save it as a PDF from Word in either Windows or on a Mac or on your iPad, the text is embedded in the PDF document and you can then edit it. But if you run it through a scanner, it's really just taking the equivalent of a picture of the information, and it won't be able to identify the text unless you run it through OCR software, where it does optical character recognition. And that, depending on the quality of the scan and depending on the fonts used and the resolution, sometimes work well, sometimes it works poorly. And there are OCR apps, but you'd have to run it through that before you'd be able to edit the text. So it's always much better to edit it in Word or Drive or some other thing and to save it as a PDF, because then the text is embedded in it and it can then be recovered if you need to edit it. And it also makes it accessible for screen readers, because if you have a PDF that is just scanned by a scanner, it's just an image, and a screen reader will not be able to find any text in it. And it also wouldn't be searchable. And that's where pretty much all the SUNYs got in, and many, many other colleges got into some trouble recently with their websites, because many of them had lots of PDFs that were just scans that did not have the text embedded. And our campus had fewer than most, but it did have to go through and clean up some of those PDFs. So it's always better to do it, to create the PDF from within some other app.
Okay, I see. All right, got it. So again, informative and helpful.
Very, very, very helpful.
Yeah, I think I will use this. I think I will get this app. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. You keep mentioning that it's for Apple products, but
yes. So if you're using Android, you won't be able to get this, unfortunately. The closest thing to this is iAnnotate, and that is, I think, the last time I looked on an Android device, I think it was about $5 or $6. I used iAnnotate until PDF Expert came out. It has many of the same features, but the menu structure was a little more cumbersome. It was a little harder to get to things. It wasn't bad. It still did many of the same things. So there is at least one option. I haven't looked at that recently. I do have several Android tablets, but I just don't use them as much. So I'm not sure what the current version or what the best thing is now. But iAnnotate has most of the same features. They just require a few more steps to get to them.
okay. I'm gonna have to mute you again because she's.
Okay. Any other questions on this?
No, thank you. So
Thank you, John. This is Fiona Call speaking from far away, but thank you very much. I'm also really excited about this, and I think I'm going to go and buy it immediately.
Okay, it was one of the best investments I ever had on an app. Oh, our camera's not working so well there, but okay, that's on the other screen. So yeah, it's incredibly powerful for the price. I bought it from my Windows machine. I'm sorry, not from my Windows machine. It doesn't run on Windows. I bought it from my MacBook, and it cost a bit more. And I don't think I've ever used it other than when I first got it, because now that we have well, I bought my own license to Adobe Cloud earlier, and that's just so easy to use, and it's built into everything. So, you know, I tend to use just that. But on a mobile device, and it works on your iPhone too, if you know, and it's a little bit more awkward to do some of the things on an iPhone because the menus are smaller and you know, the screen is a little smaller, but all the same features are in the iPhone version.
That's great.
John, one more thing. I was with the Adobe Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
We have the license for on campus, right? Can I
well, on campus, there's a limited number of licenses. I'm not sure how they're allocated, but if you contact CTS, you should be able to get it installed on your college-owned equipment. To get it on your own equipment as an employee, you can get a license for one copy of the Adobe Cloud package for, I think it's like $20 or something for a year. So the CTS website has that information. Now, I bought mine for $400 right before we got that, but and actually I've kept it. I renewed it even though I knew that, partly by accident because I was going to switch over, and it was one of those auto billing things, and I didn't get around to it at the time. I thought it was a little later than it renewed, but I also was debating whether to renew it because when you get your personal copy, you get to put it on 2 devices, and I usually have it on 2 devices. I got a Windows machine and I've got a MacBook. Sometimes I'll use one, sometimes I'll use the other. You know, so I'm not sure that's worth an extra $360, but it at least made me feel a little bit better about losing out on the opportunity to cut over to the new system. But yeah, it's, you know, if you're mostly going to be working on one machine of your own, or even if you're not, you can only have one license connected at a time. But if you have one computer connected and you try to log in on another, it will give you the option of disconnecting you from your other machines or logging it out of the other machines. And all you have to do is log in each time you switch back and forth. So I'm going to try to remember sometime before August 1st to let my old license lapse and to switch over. But that information is on the CTS website, and there's a link to the place that you have to go to buy it. You just basically have to do it using your oswego.edu address and so forth. And for $20 or $30, whatever it is, it's a remarkable price to get the whole Adobe suite.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions, comments, reactions?
Okay.
No, thank you, John.
None from me. Thanks so much, John.
Thank you. Okay, well.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
You too, and enjoy the start of the semester.